Hey, new week, new month. Are you ready? Let's do it. Got the same game as we did May and the month before that, and the month before that, and the month before that. Get 1% better each and every day. And guess what? Now we're halfway through the year, right? Almost. We're getting there. We're in the 6th month of the year out of 12. And guess what? We've been getting 1% better daily each and every day. So we know as an indisputable fact that we are closing the gap between where we are and where we want to be. The only thing that's guaranteed is that time will pass. That is the only guarantee that we have, right? We have no guarantee that we'll be around tomorrow, that what we do will be the same, the sector will be the same, our job will be the same, the way that we function within, everything will be the same. We have no guarantee of that. The only guarantee that we have is that time will pass on, tomorrow will come. So if we make sure we're doing a little bit to better ourselves each and every day, we're going to feel amazing, right? And I'm very ecstatic about where I am heading into, the second half of 2024. It's been amazing in terms of this year and what I've been able to learn and accomplish and what's growing and snowball affecting, if that's a word, as a result of what I've been pushing to do. I'm excited to share a lot of that with you guys on June 19th to the 21st for the Kaizen event. I know a lot of you here are signed up and, we're getting up there. We're looking like we're going to have a strong event, a nice, strong turnout, whether it was 5 people or 50 people or 500 people. We're still bringing that same love, that same intensity, that same value. And I'm excited to do so. So we're a little bit, what is it? A little bit over 2 weeks out. Could not be more excited. Start your timers. We're getting into it. And you'll be hearing from me soon so I can make sure that I know what everyone is feeling, where they are, where they're at, and make it super personalized as we go into that event. If you're not signed up yet, make sure you sign up. I'mBetterDaily.com. And I'm excited to dive into a new month, right? We've got a lot to go over here because we've got our week ahead and our Monday specific news. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. But it's a new month, baby, and it's never too late for you to turn it around, right? We've still got the majority of the year ahead of us. Don't say, oh man, it's already June. Where did the months go? I'm not any closer to accomplishing my goals. No, say I still have more than half a year left. Let me get to work, right? Let me get to work, learn something new, discover something new, start trying something new, because no blessing has ever come to me I couldn't see it from where I was when I started moving, ever. I couldn't see it from where I was. I just knew that there was potential there. That's how you have to move. You have to move based off of potential, because that's all we have. People like to say, man, I'd love it if it was clear. When in life was anything clear or straight up? Right? You go and you come of age and you look to get a job and you're like, I don't really know which career I'm going to go for. I'm just going to kind of put one foot in front of the other and kind of see what, comes from this. And nothing is ever clear in life where it's like there's just a big red arrow, like this way, that way. You have to see how the world is changing. And then you start executing and putting yourself in new environments. And then you say, wow, these doors are opening up for me and these miracles are happening while I'm in motion. But the being in motion is key. So let's continue the motion that we have. We've got a great first start to the half of the year. We've got another half left. Let's continue to pile that up. Had a great morning this morning personally. Got my prayer in, got my meditation in. Haven't meditated in a while, but I feel like I need to get back to that. You can't really get those answers that you need for your life unless you look internally and hear that God on the inside of you. And for me, I do that, through meditating and really taking the time to hear that voice. So glad to get back to that this morning. Then I journaled after that, and I got in a 5K, and I was able to make my girlfriend lunch, right? Get a little active service. That's her love language. And that's not being here to flex. It's being here to show gratitude, because there are definitely mornings where I sleep in, and I'll tell you guys about those too. But I'm feeling great this morning. Got a lot of stuff in, and that was a great way to start the week. So even if you didn't have the best Monday, you got Tuesday tomorrow, and you could have the best Tuesday of your life, and you've got the majority of the week ahead. So we got the majority of the year ahead, the majority of the week ahead, but we won't for long. So decide right now, right? Decide right now to get it into gear, and start having, minutes, hours, and days that you're really proud of when you put your head to sleep at night. Now, in terms of our top news here, Wall Street will be zeroed in on the May jobs report this week, which hits Friday. That's not going to be as big as like the PCE data was this past Friday. The update on non-farm payrolls will be the last one before the Federal Reserve meets on June 11th through the 12th, amid growing uncertainty of the timing of rate cuts. The April PCE inflation report released Friday, showed the Fed's official target, the 12-month core PCE, came in at 2.8%, steady from March's reading. Things are a little bit different across the Atlantic, where the European Central Bank is expected to cut on June 6th. June 6th is also the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Fun fact. The earnings schedule for next week includes reports from Hewlett Packard Enterprise, Lululemon, and NIO, or NEO, however you say it. The event calendar is loaded with conferences including the REIT Week and Computex Taiwan. Walmart will also be in the spotlight with a shareholder meeting and its traditional associate celebration scheduled on separate days. Investors will also be watching NVIDIA just ahead of the 10-for-1 stock split that becomes effective after close on Friday. So NVIDIA, got the stock split that's coming up. I feel like, there's always hype going into stock splits. Stocks can definitely run going into the split. There is no difference if you buy before the split or after the split in terms of how much it costs or how much it's worth, right? So, like, there's a lot of hype going on the splits, like for Amazon split, right? Everybody was like, you got to get your stocks before the split. If you go in and you buy one extra large slice of pizza, or you buy an extra large slice of pizza cut into 5 smaller slices, it's still the same amount of pizza. It's the same with NVIDIA, right? So it's like you going and getting 5 NVIDIA shares now, and then you're like, okay, now I'll have 50 when it's over. It's still the same amount of equity you own in the company. So, it doesn't change at all. Now, NVIDIA is still a great company. So, if you believe in the company, buy before the split, buy after the split. But there is no like race before the split to get into the stock, which is important to underline because a lot of people were like, hey, we got to get an Amazon before the split. And they did. And then Amazon went down and it was down for a few months. And then people were like, what happened? Like the split stuff doesn't work. No, over time it'll go up. It's like just make sure you have the correct expectations. So in terms of earnings this week, CrowdStrike Tuesday, June 4th. That'll be one to keep an eye on. Hewlett Packard Enterprises HPE is on June 4th, also Tuesday. Lululemon on Wednesday. Dollar Tree, Campbell's Soup as well, and then Five Below. All of those report on Wednesday. Then Thursday we've got DocuSign and and JM Smucker, who's SJM, and then NIO on Thursday. And it looks like nobody on Friday. Volatility watch, options trading volume has moved higher on Robinhood markets. We also had, we might cover it in the Monday specific news, so I'll wait on that. And if not, I'll throw it in there. But investor events, nothing too important happening there. Celsius Holdings slumps after Nielsen data cools off a bit. Paramount jumps on reports Skydance Media has sweetened its offer. Palantir wins $480 million defense contract for AI system prototype. PLTR might be back on the map. Kathy Woods acquires stake in Elon Musk's XAI. Why do I feel like I don't like that for XAI? Like Kathy Wood's stamp of approval is like the death knell. I mean, that lady is one of the worst traders I have ever seen. Like, it's just got to be a big example of just like pretty privilege or something. I don't know what it is that, she can get people to give her money to invest, but my Lord, I don't know if this lady has made one good trade or one good call ever. Especially the timing. Like her timing is so bad. Bill Ackman eyes Pershing Square IPO as soon as next year. Let me see. Now let's check out our economic calendar for the week ahead. So Monday, June 3rd, S&P Flash Manufacturing PMI. That's today. So we will get at 9:45 and 10 a.m. We have some data that'll come out, right? So, we can get kind of maybe some chop. And then at 9:45, we get a little volatility. At 10, we get a little volatility. So the market does care sometimes about these things. I don't think it'll shoot up and shoot down, but a lot of times it'll make the move that it was going to make after we get this data. Tuesday, June 4th, nothing really important. Wednesday, nothing really important. Thursday, jobless claims. Friday, wholesale inventories and U.S. employment report, as well as the unemployment rate. So Friday is when we have the biggest, data this week. We don't have any Fed speakers, which is nice. So overall, pretty docile week in terms of data. Not huge earnings, and all this is good because that means that there's less wrenches that can be thrown into what we've got going on here in terms of just the straight up price action, which is what you want to pay the most attention to. So we'll go from there to our specific Monday news. All right, let's get that here. All right, so now we're taking on top news, the R word. Treasury yields have now been inverted for the longest stretch on record. with the spread between the 2-year and the 10-year underwater for close to 2 years. It's got everyone worrying about a troubling recession. That's the R word they're referring to. Though many of those calls have moderated in recent months as the U.S. economy continues to expand, unemployment remains low, and a soft landing increasingly looks like it will be in the cards. Is the indicator, which has predicted every recession over the past 50 years, faulty or broken? No, because technically we had one, right? Like the thing is now, what quantifies a recession? What ones and zeros and what's technical definition is what defines a recession, because at this point we had multiple consecutive quarters of negative GDP. That counts as a recession. That's what it has been. But then they came out and said, no, actually, we don't have unemployment isn't high enough for this to be a recession. So you just move the goalposts. So it's like, will we ever get a recession? Well, technically, we already got one, but we might never get one if you continuously move the goalpost. I also think it's a technicality, right? That's like if, someone's dead and they're like, oh, is this murder in the first degree or in the third degree or someone died? So it's like, does it matter to the person that it happened to? No, they're dead either way. So it's like the same thing. Whether or not you declare it a recession or you don't, it's still people that are getting squeezed right now, right? Still people that are getting, the life squeezed out of them. And you're like, oh, this ain't a recession yet, though. It doesn't matter if I'm paying all this extra money per month and the standard of living, has drastically decreased and, defaults on loans and people are struggling with credit and slipping into delinquency at the highest rates ever. Like, who cares if you call that a recession or not? It's people that are, in pain and struggling. Um, so in terms of how it works, yield curves typically slope upward. So when short-term yields return more than longer-dated ones, it suggests there is reason to worry about the long-term economic outlook, right? When you talk about treasury yields and you holding treasury bonds, right? You hold bonds and that you're supposed to get more interest. You're supposed to get higher yields off you buying, longer term ones than shorter term. But if you have, a greater return off of the shorter term bonds, then that means that people are scared or more scared about the long term economic outcome. Is essentially what this is saying, and that's kind of a recession signal. Um, it can also signal that the high levels of short-term yields are unlikely to be sustained as growth slows, which can have impact on a range of asset prices. Investors usually factor in Fed rate cuts under those dynamics, with easing expectations signaling the potential for a faltering economy. Now, while some think the yield curve is no longer a reliable indicator, others point out its stark accuracy. The second to last time the yield curve was inverted in August of 2019, which happened before the pandemic induced recession, the 2-year, 10-year inverted again in March 2022, just before a technical recession emerged in the second quarter of that year. Any decision on a formal recession is left up to the NBER's Business Cycle Dating Committee, which has been responsible for setting the dates of peaks and troughs of the U.S. economy since 1978. But since it was never formally declared, it kept investors waiting for another one to happen. Who got it right? The Fed's infamous transitory call on inflation, a stock rally that has confounded Wall Street, and most recently, expectations for rate cuts are all among the recent predictions that have led many investors astray in recent years. Economists and mainstream analysts have to check their report cards, and recession talk might be the next failed projection. Is it different this time around, or is a recession bound to happen eventually? It may just take more time. Yeah, I mean, we'll see who ends up getting it right. At the end of the day, I don't care if it's a technical recession, this, that, and the third. Watch the charts, make moves based off of the charts. Don't get involved. If it's something that you can afford, if everything stays the same, you can't afford it because everything won't stay the same. Right? I'll tell you that straight up just to help people say, oh, real friends give me good advice. Like, if you can't buy it 3 times over right now, don't buy it. Straight up. That's where it's at, because at any point in time, we have so many different balls in the air, so many different variables that are happening right now, that now is the biggest chance for occurrence of these black swan events, right? Something completely unforeseen. We've got multiple armed conflicts all around the world, right? It's an election year. We've got this rise of AI, and every other week there's another update. This is the time in which things can change the most. So if you're eyeing up, that Maserati truck, and you're like, as long as I have my best, if you're in like sales, I had my best sales month, of my career last month. As long as I keep that up, and my wife gets this bonus, and my kid holds on to this scholarship. Like, as long as all of that stays the same, I can afford this Maserati truck. And it's like, dude, you might be better off going to FanDuel and putting in a ticket for $1 to hit 1 million. Like it's just there's too much influx now to ever have that thought process. So that's my advice. Is learn how to read charts, leverage AI. If you can't buy it 3 times over, don't buy it. And that's where we're at with things. When it comes to like stuff that isn't super important, right? If you need a laptop that has certain capabilities, then yeah, you gotta buy that laptop. But so a lot of people are like, "Oh no, I need that new MacBook Pro OS X." It's like, dude, you're watching YouTube videos, man. No, you don't, right? Get that Chromebook and keep it pushing. Um, Speaking of pushing, on the move, meaning again, GameStop surged more than 90% in volatile pre-market trade after influential trader Keith Gill, known online as Roaring Kitty, revealed what appeared to be a big stake in the company. Gill, who sparked the meme frenzy in 2021, shared a screenshot on Reddit that showed he bought millions of GameStop shares valued at around 116 million, as well as call options. This prompted a broader rally for meme stocks this morning. GameStop also soared last month after Gill returned to social media following a 3-year hiatus, which was enough to ignite a buying craze that saw the stock more than double in value in May, and it paid us a few thousand%. Right. It also sparked a great week where we had multiple back-to-back plays of 1,000+% return. Can't beat it, right? Pretty amazing. Was I focused on GameStop this time? No, absolutely not. We had a big week for the broader market, and I was completely locked in on SPY and where SPY needs to be. Will I take a look at it this morning? Yeah, maybe. But I'm a big fan of like being proactively positioned before these moves happen, and not a big fan of leading everyone into a burning building, trying to get us to gather supplies and get out before the building collapses. Because that's where you're at when you play with these meme stocks, and you know a lot of people don't get out in time and they do end up getting collapsed underneath the building. So I'll check it out. And if the technicals work out, cool. But if not, right, from what people they're like, oh, this is the time. We'll see. Like we'll see what's up. But you wanna if you miss that move, right, then go ahead and like check out AMC, check out something like that. Just don't be that person that chases and they're like, man, I've only got 2,500 bucks left in excess cash. I'm going to take in by a GameStop call that expires next week and just hope that Roaring Kitty takes us to the moon. I do think this is big, right? I think from a fundamental standpoint, like there's a lot of emotion involved in this, and I think a lot of people hearing that he's the pioneer of this movement and he staked that much money on it. I feel like they know that like this is the time that they'll pile in, but just understand that like if you wouldn't flush it down the toilet, don't play it on a meme stock, right? If you're not fine with it completely going to zero, don't play it on a meme stock. But this is fun, and there is some craziness going on, some volatility, and there's definitely opportunity. So check it out, read the chart, see if the chart says that there's some solid opportunity, and if there is, pull the trigger, right? Pull the trigger, execute, have some fun, but make sure that you are also putting on like good, strong like trades that have like credence behind them as well, right? I'm not just out here waiting every time GameStop runs to the moon, right? We had SPY that we nailed on that analysis last week, put in a nice hammer right before close. So SPY ran it up and got back over that level that we needed, paid really nicely heading into this week and also set us up in a great spot for this week with different swing positions. And I feel like that's what I'll try and spend, most of my time on today is examining, okay, where are we at in all these different tickers? And SPY, there was a nice spot to get in on last week. Where are some other areas that are great spots to enter in on? Since SPY decided to hold and turn around and do what it needs to do in order to continue to push upward. Global news: year of the election, pledging to continue with policies of outgoing President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. Claudia Sheinbaum has been elected as Mexico's first woman president in a landslide victory. Her win comes at a time when Mexico is facing slow growth as well as continued cartel violence, both of which are major concerns for voters as well as its top trading partner, the U.S. Elections are also coming to a close in other countries. South Africa will now see unprecedented coalition talks, while the world's largest election has ended in India, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi projected to win a third term. Election year, baby. Energy, crude cuts. Something that I talked about last week, and the crystal ball still shining here this morning. In a bid to boost oil prices, but which did not have much of an immediate effect, OPEC Plus has agreed to extend most of its production cuts well into 2025. The group had previously slashed supply by a combined 5.86 million barrels a day, of which 3.66 million barrels per day were due to expire at the end of 2024, and 2.2 billion barrels per day voluntary cuts by 8 members were set to expire at the end of the month. While many OPEC Plus members reportedly need oil prices to be above $80 per barrel to balance their budgets, some analysts say the decision was bearish given recent increases in inventories. We'll see. Only the price action will tell. But maybe they'll convene and decide to cut again. We'll have to see. But we're in a very busy season with it being the summer. Tons of people traveling, so they're definitely looking to take advantage of that. Today's markets looking mostly green here, all over the world. In Asia, Japan up 1.1%, Hong Kong up 1.8, China down 0.3, India up 3.4, London up 0.1, Paris up 0.4, Frankfurt up 0.9. The Dow down 0.1, S&P up 0.1, Nasdaq up 0.4%, crude down 0.1, gold up 0.3, Bitcoin up 2.1% to 68,888. Today's economic calendar, I mentioned PMI at 9:45, ISM manufacturing data at 10. What else is happening? Vermont is requiring big oil to pay for climate change damage. Skydance's latest offer allows Paramount holders to cash out. Waste Management nears deal to buy Stericycle. NVIDIA's next-gen Rubin AI platform coming in 2026. Can only imagine. Stock split. Will NVIDIA replace Intel in the Dow? Elon Musk and Jamie Dimon are said to be on friendlier terms. Congrats to them, I guess. Qatar Airways prepares for big order from major plane makers. Boeing Starliner's crewed flight launch scrubbed yet again. Seeking Alpha asks which weight loss stock should investors be watching. Eli Lilly. Where Trump and Biden agree, both are on TikTok despite seeking bans. So that'll wrap us up here for our first pre-market prep stream of June. I believe so. Yeah, Saturday was June 1st, Sunday, June 2nd. First one of June. Wouldn't rather be here doing it with anybody else, right? If you're not, make sure you're signed up. I'mBetterDaily.com for the Kaizen event. We're 2 weeks out. Love everybody. Let's have a great day. Let's make it a great day on purpose. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.